Alafu askari
hivyo ndio kuna sasa.
Akaniambia, John, yule msichana nilikuwa na date Mkisi, nimempata amekufa kwa nyumba yangu. So hivyo ndo aliniambia. Nikamuuliza, Crispin, how did this happen? Ilifanyika aje? Huyu msichana ulimpata aje kwa nyumba yako na ulimpata saa ngapi? So Crispin hakutaka kunielezea mambo mengine yale yaliyotendeka. So Crispin, mimi sikuamini, kwanza sikuamini alichoniambia. So Crispin akaniambia, una John, unaweza enda uconfirm kama ninachokuambia ni nini, ni ukweli. Mimi nayo nilikuwa nimeogopa zaidi. Tukatoka hapo nje ya apartment, nikateremka kidogo karibu na shop yangu, tukapata boda hapo, tukaelekea mpaka kule anapokaa, unaitwa diaspora. Most of the students know it that way. Nikamwambia, Crispin, kama unachosema ni ukweli, if it is true that what you are telling me is true, ati huyu msichana ako hapo ndani, kindly twende police station sahi, tusichukue muda. Aya, Crispin nikamwona ameingia kwa nyumba kidogo, ni kama akachukua kitu, alichukua around 3 minutes, akatoka nje. Alikuwa amechange in those 3 minutes, amechange kwa nyumba, amechange nguo kwa nyumba, akatoka. Nikamwambia, Crispin, twende kwa police station sasa hiyo. By that time nilikuwa nimeanza safari ya kurudi kwa gate.
Dark Echoes 254. She left her home in Kisii like any other day, a young student with dreams too big for her small town. But 3 days later, Harriet Moraa's life ended in a rental house in Machakos. Her hands tied, her future stolen. How did a routine visit turn into a nightmare? And who really bears the blame for the girl who never came home? What really happened inside that room? Why did a young woman who trusted love live in silence? This is the death of Harriet Moraa, and this is where the story turns dark. Harriet Moraa Nyaboga was a first-year student at Machakos University, just beginning her academic life. She was pursuing a Bachelor of Education, a course chosen not for glamour but for purpose. Teaching was a stability. Teaching was service. Teaching was her future. She came from South Mugirango, Kisii County, raised by a widowed woman who had carried the family alone since the early 2000s. Harriet was the firstborn, the standard setter, the blueprint, the one everyone leaned on, the kind of child who grows up fast because life demands it. By all accounts, she was close to her family. She called home often. She checked on her siblings. On her final day, she was excited. She spoke about her younger sisters, hopefully that her sibling would soon follow her to the university. She left home on Saturday, January 6th, after the burial of her grandfather, unaware that grief was not done with her family yet. She arrived in Machakos safely. She said so herself. That was the last time her voice reached home. Crispin Odhiambo Omondi was not new to university life. He was a finalist engineering student at Machakos University, older, more experienced, familiar with the town, the routine, the freedom that come with staying longer. He rented a single-room house in Katoloni Estate, a student-populated area near the university. The caretaker confirmed he had taken the house the previous year, identifying himself as a fifth-year student. This was not a temporary stop. Omondi was Harriet's boyfriend. The relationship placed him as the last known person she visited, the last person she trusted with her physical safety. Harriet Moraa, a bright-eyed first-year student at Machakos University, left her family home in Kisii on January 7, carrying nothing more than her books, a bag of belongings, and the unspoken hopes of a young woman stepping into independence. That morning, she said goodbye to her parent, unaware that the ordinary routine of travel and check-ins would soon turn into nightmare. Upon arrival, she called her mother, her voice calm and familiar, reassuring her family that she had reached safely. It was a small comfort, a fleeting snapshot of normalcy in a world that was about to twist its darkness. The following day, January 8th, began like any other. Harriet attended her classes, interacting with friends, and maintained her usual contact with family, checking in on her younger sister's KCSE results. But beneath the mundane rhythm of campus life, her fate was quietly unraveling. She went to visit Crispin Odhiambo Omondi, a fellow student at the university. According to reports, it was a casual visit, nothing out of the ordinary on the surface, but behind the closed doors of that small rental house in Katoloni, the course of her life was about to change irreversibly. Hours passed, and Harriet did not return home. Friends and family began to grow concerned, their worry mounting with each unanswered call. By the early hours of January 9th, a grim discovery was made. Harriet's body was found inside Omondi's house. The sight was chilling. Harriet's hands were tied behind her back with shoelaces. Signs of assault visible, and blood was oozing from her ears and nose. Yet, preliminary investigations showed no signs of struggle, and in the house, the brutality inflicted upon her. The vibrant energy of a young woman, once full of life and promises, had been silenced in a place that should have been safe. Authorities quickly intervened. Omondi, who had been the last person seen with her, was arrested as the prime suspect. Another individual was also taken into custody to assist with investigation. But the focus remained firmly on the young man who had been entrusted with her presence, now implicated in a horrifying act of violence. The police immediately began piecing together her final hours, retracing steps, speaking with witnesses, and combing through the details that would explain how a routine visit had turned fatal. Statements from the people close to the suspect became central to the inquiry. Daniel Musella, another friend, told investigators that the explanation Omondi gave him did not add up. Musella said that when he was informed about the situation, he felt uneasy and declined to enter the house. He further stated that Omondi went inside, changed his clothes, and appeared unconcerned about immediately reporting the matter to the authorities, behavior that investigators found troubling. Police focused on reconstructing the timeline from the morning of January 8th, when Harriet was last known to be alive, to the discovery of the body on January 9th. Detectives examined phone communication, movements, and witness account to determine what happened during that window. The lack of signs of struggle, combined with the manner in which Harriet had been restrained, became a key focus of forensic and investigative analysis as authorities worked to establish responsibility and motive. The campus itself, usually filled with the laughter of students and the quiet hum of lectures, fell into a somber silence. Friends and peers whispered about the last time they had seen her, replaying memories and conversations, unable to reconcile the girl they knew with the brutality of what happened. Social media and news outlets erupted, painting a picture of shock, grief, and rising anger. The tragedy was not only personal, it was a stark reminder of the vulnerability young women face, even in spaces they believe they are safe. In just 3 days, Harriet Moraa's life had been transformed from ordinary to horrific. From leaving home in Kisii with hope in her heart and arriving at her new life in Machakos, to the final fatal encounter in Omondi's rental house, the event of January 7th to 9th mark a timeline that is both chilling and tragic. The investigation was only beginning, but the reverberations of her death were already echoing from beyond the walls of a university, stirring a community to reckon with grief, fear, and urgent questions of justice. On January 10th, 2024, Crispin Odhiambo Omondi was arrested in connection with the murder of Harriet Moraa. He was taken to Machakos High Court for arraignment but did not take a plea. During the hearing, Justice Francis Olel directed that Omondi undergo a mental evaluation at Machakos Level 4 Hospital to determine whether he was fit to stand trial. This step is a standard legal procedure in serious cases where there may be questions about a suspect's mental state, ensuring that the individual fully understands the charges against him and is capable of participating in their own defense. The evaluation is prerequisite before any formal plea can be entered or the trial can proceed. In the same hearing, the court appointed a pro bono lawyer to represent Omondi, guaranteeing that he had legal counsel during the proceedings. Following the arraignment, he was remanded at Machakos GK prisons, where he remains in custody. The case had been scheduled for further court mention on February 14, 2024, pending the completion of the mental assessment. However, there is no public record indicating that Omondi returned to court on that date or that any plea was formally entered. The proceedings highlight both the seriousness of the allegations and the careful procedural steps the court is required to take when questions about a suspect's mental fitness arise, ensuring that all legal standards are observed before the trial moves forward.